From the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee for the Center Square, I'm Greg Bishop, and we're joined by Jim Walsh, a delegate out of Washington State. Jim, thanks for taking time with us today. I definitely want to talk about your thoughts on the impacts of Trump being at the top of the ticket and what that means for the politics in Washington State. But talk about what happened Saturday when you saw the news. What was going through your head, especially moving forward as we get closer to the November election?
Well, dread. A lot of us who are on the right side of the political spectrum have been dreading this kind of thing for years. The rhetoric in the mainstream media and in the left political circles of hatred and vitriol toward Trump has been so intense, many of us feared that someone was going to try to kill him. It's not the political activist class that we worry about there. They're not the risk. The risk is that the rhetoric of the political activist class will push someone who's mentally or emotionally unstable over the edge. The similar thing that happened 40 years ago was when an unstable person tried to kill Ronald Reagan. That shooter thought that by killing Reagan he would somehow appeal to a movie actress. He had seen movies and they kind of pushed him over the edge. I think in our media society today, it's not movies really that do that. It's the narratives on social media and that sometimes leach up into mainstream media of just bitter hatred, particularly toward Donald Trump. So we were relieved when it became clear pretty quickly that he would be okay. But then what we've been talking about among elected officials, I'm a state legislator in Olympia, as well as the state party chair, we've been encouraging our equal numbers across the aisle to dial down their rhetoric about Trump. Stop saying that he's a fascist. Stop saying that he's a dictator. Stop saying that he's an existential threat to democracy. None of those things are true. And it's irresponsible, really, on the part of people like Bob Ferguson, our state's attorney general, who just days ago was using the existential threat to democracy about Donald Trump. And Trump has nothing to do with Ferguson's political ambitions. So it's a cheap and easy target for extreme leftists to use. So we're asking them to dial that down. Stop using that kind of rhetoric. As far as the ballot effects in November go, the presidential election is actually not the top of the ballot in Washington in November. The top of the general election ballot will be 4 initiatives that the people of Washington will be voting on. 3 of the 4 of them have to do with tax reforms. Particularly, one repeals our state's disastrous cap-and-trade tax scheme. 3 of them are about tax reforms, and one of them is a restoration of natural gas, which the far left has tried to ban and restrict in Washington State. So we expect that there's going to be a lot of turnout by people who want to reform our taxes, cut our state taxes, and restore natural gas as an energy choice for homes or businesses.
So with that being at the top, and President following thereafter, you're essentially saying that the ballot initiatives are what's really going to draw people to the ballot, because they're going to have a direct impact on exactly how that's going to turn out. Do you think that hurts or helps Donald Trump and Republicans in Washington State?
Oh, absolutely, it helps. The 4 initiatives have been called by the mainstream media Republican-backed initiatives. That's not strictly speaking true, but they do line up with the small government, good government, tax reform message that Republicans have long championed. And so we expect that it's going to not only turn out base Republican voters, but we think it's going to persuade middle voters, undecided voters, to vote for good tax reforms, vote for natural gas as a choice, and then keep voting down the line because these were Republican-backed initiatives, the mainstream media says.
Some of the conversation around here this week has been on trying to go out to those groups that aren't traditionally political, that maybe Democrats feel are in their camp. We've seen former President Trump go to deep blue city areas. How does that play out in Washington State? Is there a place for that for Republicans to capture some of those votes, especially with those ballot initiatives at the top?
Oh, absolutely it is. The district that I represent at the state capitol was traditionally considered a deep blue district. And the way we flipped it to now what is considered a safe red district, although I'm not sure either is ever really true, was that we appealed to union households, to single parent households, to people you don't think of as traditional Republicans, with a message of common sense, good government, transparency and accountability, and not the arrogance that the kind of technophile left elite has such contempt for ordinary working people. And it was very successful, very much in the vein of the speech we heard last night here at the convention from the head of the Teamsters, the National Teamsters. That frustration and anger that he referenced, that working people have toward a political elite that doesn't just ignore them, but kind of mocks them and has contempt for them, is very motivating. That's how we turn the 19th district from deep blue to deep red. And that's something we're going to look to do all around the state.
Jim Walsh, a delegate from Washington State for Donald Trump, also a party leader for the Republicans. Again, thank you so much for taking time with us here at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee with the Center Square.
It's something everybody should do once in their life, come to a national political convention.
Greatly appreciate your time.
Great. Good to talk to you.